Hi everyone, it's Danielle with Northlawn Flower Farms. Today I want to talk all about growing snapdragons, all about the different varieties of snapdragons on the market, the different groups depending on what season you want to grow them in, and also how to harvest them for the longest vase life. So let's get started with the three different varieties that there are. You have your traditional snapdragon, which is the one that we probably all remember as a child when our mom told us to go ahead and pinch it and it would open up the mouth of the snapdragon. That's a traditional snapdragon. There's also a beautiful variety of an open snapdragon, something like a chantilly where the mouth is wide open. And then there's a snapdragon called a double or an azalea type snapdragon, something like a Madame Butterfly snapdragon, which is a beautiful double petaled bloom. And I really like those. They're a little bit harder for the pollinators to get to them, so they tend to last a little bit longer in the vase. There are also different flowering groups, and these are specific to the best time of year to grow snapdragons. So you have group 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now group 1 and 2 flowers and produces best during the spring season when temperatures are cool, the light is more gentle, and the day length is shorter. That's something like a chantilly. But then there's also group 3 and 4, something like the rocket that you see here, which thrives during the heat of the summer. Also, sometimes this is referred to as an all-season snapdragon. So that's a snapdragon that I can count on to produce all summer long. I can cut on it all summer and it'll keep producing, the group 3 and 4, whereas something from the group 1 and 2 will probably only give me blooms early in the spring and early in the fall. And it is important to note that I'm here in zone 6B, so that's the zone of experience that I'm speaking from. And you can know what group that each snapdragon is in when you buy from a reputable seed company, something like Geo or Johnny's. It's going to tell you on the back of the packet what group it belongs to. And so it's a good idea if you're looking to have snapdragons all season long, from early spring to late fall, to plant some from group 1 and 2 and some from group 3 and 4 to help you extend the season, because snaps are a really wonderful, dependable cut, and you don't have too many pest issues. We can get to pest issues also. So let's talk about how to sow them. Snapdragons take about 100 to 120 days to mature. It's pretty long to maturity. The seeds are very small. They're kind of like flecks of black dust. So you can mix them with sand to help you see the seed a little bit better. I just like to use a toothpick. I dip the toothpick in water and then I touch the seed, and then you just lay it right on top of your medium. They want some light to germinate. They don't want to be covered. And once they do germinate, go ahead and put them immediately under light so that you don't have any issues with them becoming leggy. Once they're ready to go out into the garden, for me, I do put them out into the garden in very late winter because they can take cold. I'm going to pinch out the center so I get more blooms, and I plant these guys about 9 by 9 inches apart because I'm going to cut on them and I want them to produce multiple stems for me. If I was looking for just one stem per plant, I could push it to even 4 by 4 or 6 by 6, but as I say, these guys are going to bulk up and I'm going to be cutting on them all season long. So now they're ready to be cut, and we want to harvest the snapdragon when they're about 1/3 to 1/2 open. Now if I was selling to a florist, I would pick them even less mature, where just something like, I hope you can see this in the camera, where there's almost just 1, 2, or 3 blossoms open. But what I primarily sell to is at a farmer's stand. So people like to see them a little bit more open, but I also want to make sure that they last a long time in the vase for my customer. So I'm going to pick them at about 1/3 open. It's really important where you pick the snapdragon so that you can get more blooms in the future. So I'm going to cut these guys almost the whole way down to the ground level, and I'm going to cut them probably leaving 2 sets of leaves, And what this plant is going to do is now produce wonderful long usable side shoots for me, because I did go ahead and cut this Snapdragon nice and low. And I'm going to put this guy immediately into water. And after I'm done talking, I can show you some that I've cut previously, and you can see that they are growing back from that initial cut. So we can just go ahead along and cut. Nice long usable stems. Always cut in the cool of the morning or in the late of the evening, so that your blossoms, or that your blooms rather, are nice and hydrated. If you cut these guys in the heat of the day, you're going to decrease the vase life significantly. Something else to know about snapdragons is that they are geotropic, meaning that they bend dependent on gravity. So it's really important when harvesting snapdragons to place them into a tall bucket or bunch them close enough together so that they all help each other stand upright. Because say I were to place these in a short vessel, the snapdragon would actually start to curve onto the edge of that vessel and then try to curve back up. And you can't fix that problem. So when harvesting, go ahead and place these guys into a tall bucket. Now, I think the only other thing to share is an experience that I had this past year. As I say, I'm here in zone 6B, but I actually had some Madame butterflies come back from the root system from the previous year. They didn't reseed themselves, but they actually came back as if they were a perennial. So I'm going to go ahead and give that a try this year. Rather than ripping all these rockets out, I'm just going to cut them back really hard in the fall once they're done producing and see what happens. I think I'm right on the edge there where they're hardy, and I think it's worth a try. So I hope those tips were helpful. I'm going to go ahead and harvest all these snapdragons for the stand today so I can get them conditioned in the house and then sell them later. Well, until next time, happy gardening. Bye. I just want to do one more close-up on this cut and show you that this is the one that I had cut previously. Here's where I made that initial cut, and here's it regrowing. So I can cut these ones for you so we can see it nice and up close and personal. I'll try to get my hand out of the way. Here's where I'm going to make that cut. Right above a set of leaves. 1, 2, 3. 3 sets is really, I guess, what I'm going for. There you have it.